Hi everyone, and welcome to our staff training today on prompt hierarchy. We are going to talk about exactly what a prompt is, the different types of prompts that we can use, how we implement them, and why they are so important for our learners with autism. At the end of the training, we will have the opportunity to practice these strategies hands-on and in person with our students within the instructional programs here at school. In addition, I'll be forwarding you this presentation, so all the materials will be available to you to review at any point in time at your leisure. Let's talk about what exactly prompts are. A prompt is a cue that we use to give a learner before they display a behavior. Prompts can include verbal directives, demonstration, or any form of physical assistance. Prompts provide learners with a reminder of how to display a behavior. They also are used to build compliance for learners to complete and participate in adult-directed activities that are less familiar to them or are less preferred. We use and see prompts within our everyday life on a daily basis. We see visuals while we are driving so that we drive safely. We use schedules so that we keep on track and we complete activities that are assigned to us. And we use so many more supports that just help us be more independent in participating in our life. Prompts, though, are even more important to our learners with autism. Providing prompts increases learners' ability to display a correct response or participate in an activity more successfully and more appropriately. Prompts show what is expected in any given situation. During some studies, individuals with autism have acquired skills more rapidly or produce fewer errors when they are provided with prompts. By being able to participate in more activities appropriately, students can then practice building on their language and social skills as well. Prompts are especially important for our individuals with autism because they struggle with initiating activities, learning new skills, and generalizing skills. What I mean by generalizing skills is that when an individual with autism learns a skill, they have trouble with then using that skill in different settings or with different individuals or instructors. In addition, individuals with autism really struggle with skills that have multiple steps. That is why using prompts is so important. There are 6 types of prompts that are used most often. They are visual, verbal, gestural, modeling, partial physical, and full physical. Prompt hierarchy is when students are given increased or decreased prompting or assistance. There are 2 types of prompt hierarchies, least to most prompting and most to least prompting. Least to most prompting is also known as the system of least prompts, increasing assistance, or the least amount of help to the most amount of help. With this, the teacher is initially providing the learner with no assistance or no prompts, and they are seeing if they can complete the task independently and on their own. Prompt intrusiveness is then increased to the next level as the learner does not respond or responds incorrectly. This means that the prompt becomes more intrusive or more hands-on. The next levels of prompting would be visual, verbal, gestural, modeling, partial physical, and full physical. With most to least prompting, students are initially given more intrusive prompts, such as full physical prompting. The intrusiveness of the prompt then decreases or fades or is even taken away completely as the learner demonstrates more success. The next levels of prompting would be partial physical, modeling, gestural, verbal, and visual. Most to least prompting is usually used with learners who are being taught a skill for the very first time, or with a learner who has very limited physical abilities and needs more hands-on assistance. The least intrusive prompt is always going to be a visual cue, and the most intrusive is going to be a full physical prompt. Again, this is another visual that's showing least to most prompting and most to least prompting. So let's look at the different prompts that we have. We'll start out with visual prompts. A visual prompt is a picture cue shown to a student which provides information about a correct answer or what is being expected of them. This can include pictures or objects, and they are always something that the learner can see. Here we have a visual sentence starter, visual directions, visual cue, visual sequence strip, and a visual schedule. We also can use videos, photographs, drawings, and flashcards. These supports can then be posted throughout a learner's educational environment and used as needed. Visual cues are also accessible through augmentative communication devices such as AAC systems and core boards. These visuals can help cue learners to communicate their wants and needs, answer questions, and socialize with others. Let's look at an example of a student using their communication device with visuals to communicate.
Play ball.
As you can see, the student was using their visuals to communicate what they wanted. Our next prompt is a verbal prompt. A verbal prompt is a direct statement told to a learner by an adult. They can be orally provided, or they can be in a written manner. We also can provide verbal prompts by just repeating a verbal direction or by providing the beginning sound of an answer. So for example, if a student is being asked to say the word ball, the instructor might say "b" to prompt them to begin speaking. Written verbal prompts are usually step-by-step narratives that give the students a written format of what is being expected of them in order to complete a task. Examples of verbal prompts could include someone saying "watch this" or "press this button." Verbal prompts are also found in video modeling and social skill scripts or social stories. These help improve spontaneous social exchanges for children with autism, as well as promote appropriate and expected behaviors. Here is an example of a social story. And here is a video of an adult who is prompting a student using verbal cues to put on their coat. This is a perfect example of something we could use in a school setting when students are transitioning to recess.
Go put your coat on.
As you can see, the verbal cue prompted the child to then go get her coat. Here are also some visual cues that we can give staff so they know what verbal prompts to provide to students. If asking a student to imitate, you might say "do this" or "do what I do." If asking a student to identify something, you might say "touch the" or "show me." And if asking a student to label, you might say "which one" or "tell me." Our next prompt is a gestural prompt. A gestural prompt is a cue to a learner to tell them to use or display a particular behavior. Gestural prompts can include pointing towards or touching something, nodding, or reaching. This can include pointing to an object or pointing towards a particular direction in the classroom. You can see in this photo here that the instructor is pointing to the item on the page that they want the child to identify or look at. Another example of gestural prompts is if you are asking a student to transition to their next assigned activity, you might point in that direction so that they head that way. Here's an example of an instructor pointing with a gestural prompt.
Point to the dog.
Our next type of prompt is a modeling prompt. A model prompt is when an adult demonstrates or shows a learner how to complete an activity. The learner is then asked to imitate or copy what they are shown. This can include a full imitation or a partial imitation of a skill. Modeling is typically appropriate for learners who already know a portion of a task, who can imitate behaviors, and who can attend. We see modeling a lot in sports when coaches are teaching different plays to players. Here is an example of an instructor who is modeling how to sweep.
Watch me.
A particular type of modeling is called video modeling. This is when a child watches something being modeled to them on a tablet or other smart device. This is a great type of prompt to use in an environment that will not be distracting to other students because the student can watch the video modeling on their own device with headphones in their ears. Our next type of prompt is a partial physical prompt, which is when an adult provides some form of physical assistance to the learner to complete a portion of a task. This can include placing a hand on the learner's forearm, their elbow, or providing them with a light touch to move the learner's body in a direction that he or she needs to go towards in order to obtain an object or to transition. You can see this here in the photo where the adult is lightly touching the learner's elbow to prompt him to begin writing. This is a less intrusive prompt than a full physical prompt. Here we'll see another instructor who is touching lightly the child's elbow in order for them to begin working.
Show me the TV.
Our last type of prompt is a full physical prompt. A full physical prompt is when a teacher physically guides a learner with hand-over-hand guidance to complete an entire movement or response. As shown in this picture here, where the learner is making a peanut butter sandwich, the instructor has both their hands over the student's hands in order to help them. Full physical prompts are the most intrusive types of prompt because it requires direct physical involvement between the teacher and the learner. This type of prompt does not allow the student to demonstrate their independence. Here we'll see another example of hand-over-hand assistance being used for full physical prompting.
It's time to eat. We're going to pick up our fork.
An additional type of prompt is called positional prompts. This is where an instructor will put the answer closer to or near the learner. In this video, we will see how the adult moves the utensil closer to the learner so that they are prompted to begin eating. I'm glad that everyone was able to listen to the different types of prompts that we have and why they are so important. I've included all of the citations for the different literature that I use, as well as the visual and media resources. I hope that this presentation helped you to know more about prompting and how you can use it with our students in the educational setting. Please continue to reach out to me with any further questions you may have. We will now spend some time practicing using these strategies hands-on with some of our students.